If you just work on the head, so place the head on a surface that you have, any size of the canvas. But if you finish with me like a whole cat, we need to place it. You see that most of the paper is our cat and less background we see. So imagine this is the top of the cat, a little bit move for the background. And I start to place the head a little bit more than half a paper, like this. My half a paper is like that. So on top a little bit for this oval shape is good for head, and then the rest is good for body. And I try to add left and right side to separate it, to have an idea. This is a place good for my cat head. So it's not a little circly and not really oval. Something a little here, you see, it's look like an edge as it has. So I draw one line like that. Try to connect this to this line, not curvy. And even here a little bit, bring it down. And even if you work with watercolor, it's better the line not to be really dark. I have to because I would like it visible for you, but it's better your drawing line be light and loose. Then connect this to the other part of the face. For the head, I try to add a curvy line on top and place 2 ears around. 2 ears is look like triangle shape, but on different angle. This is more toward the right side. So I try to add one line here more toward the right. A little pointy on top, bring it down. But this one is more toward left and a little straight. Gentle C curve with nice C curve on top, and then connect to the other side of the face. Like that. And then we can move for whole body, then back to the features of the face. Now the top part of my paper or canvas is the head. If I want to work on a body, the rest is place of body. And you see that a little bit of space we need to have for the bottom of paper. So I place it here. That's enough for the background. And now I start from if we see it in a big shape modeling, it's look like big rock here. Like place a big rock like that. It's like same as this shape. Then we have to carry it. For example, on the back, I start to make a little C curve to bring it like that. A little bump here. And then it's connect to the tail. Something like this. And then the other side, it's the chest part. And then reach to the hand. If you see the two hand is not on the same level, the right one is on top, but the left one is exactly the bottom part of the paper it's placed. So if it's placed on angle, like this angle. So we can keep this angle, follow that mention about the bottom of hand should be placed here and the other should be placed here. We mentioned about this size and then try to draw a little bit more accurate. I'm not going through the details. The details is finished by paint for both acrylic and watercolor. The whole shape would be enough for drawing. Now I would like to draw the place of the other hand, if I see exactly under this part of the face, it's moved down, and here start for nice C-curve. The line of C-curve can be convex or concave. It depends which part we work. A little bit less part of eye is placed on top and more is on the bottom. So nose and mouth and half of the eyes is placed on the bottom of the face. This part is a little longer. The forehead is a little longer, and then it's some part of the eye. And it's on curve because it's look at the other side. It's not facing us. It look at the right side, and it's placed on the curve shape. So we can draw one curve like this, one curve like that. It's more give us an idea about the place of eye, and even you can draw some curve to place eyes, eyes, nose, and mouth. But I just go with for the eye. Here is more for the eye, forehead, the bigger part, and then the rest I place it for eyes. I'm going to start 2 C-curve parallel with this line to draw for the eyes, and a little bit of space in between. It's exactly the same as the size of eyes. So if you draw 1 C-curve, should be the same size in between. And it's more toward the right side because of the angle of the face. And then for eyes, I try to draw one line like that on both sides, more straight. And they reach each other like that together, a little bit pointy on one side. Same for the other eyes. On a little space, we can draw the place of nose. It's like top of the heart on top. And then like a triangle reach to each other. And then separate 2 small parts for the hole here. Light blue color with green. I have this light green, but it's okay if you have darker one, that's fine. Just a tiny bit, bring it to the blue, very less. We need to keep the blue bluey, not really greeny. Just a tiny bit green to make our color move toward turquoise. And if we want to have lighter tone, we need to add more water on our paint in watercolor. But in acrylic, we need to add more white color to make it light. So let me put the model aside. So for background, I prefer a little bit make it wet with the water, clean water, and then add the paint on top, just a bit. But you know that in acrylic, you don't need to do that. Just right away, move to the background and add the tone around the background. This is for watercolor, a tiny bit around body. I try to make it wet, very less, not much. And then with this paint, move on very gently to cover around cat. And the reason I'm going to add the water, because I want to have a background surface so smooth and soft. I don't want to see the edges for that in watercolor. And even you know that when you want to have light value, you need to add more water in your paint. If you would like to see darker tone, you need to add more paint, more pigment. So if I want to make some part darker, I need to add more pigment in that and make it darker. With the tip a little bit, you can draw some tone here. Just bring some tone here randomly, because the brownie color is look like liney here. And under the chin is dark as well. Top of the nose, we need to add this darkness. And on top her forehead a little bit. The base is light brown, but I can see lots of grayish color as well. Here is light brown too. So I add that. If you work with acrylic, please add white color at the same time on the place which is white. With this creamy brownie color, we add like this. And then a little bit on the left side. The dark color shouldn't be really watery, because we need to bring it on top of this one, so it's better not to be really watery. Clean it by water and napkin. And then I will keep this again a little bit get dry, then move on with darker tone. So I can start to add some brownie color on the body. Whole back is brownie. You can add all this part, just the brown. And then lay down, hold the brush inside to do like this technique, which is a little darker inside the body, inside the ears. Or even lay down on this part to make it a little grayish color on the forehead. And lighter even. And try to use at the same time the tip for make the line on top of forehead and make it shape like that. You can lay down and draw a little line with lighter tone, or with the tip on top, bring some darker tone and make it liney. And keep the brownie color under it in between, not cover whole part. So some part is lighter gray, like this part, and some part is darker. And then with the tip again, back to this part of the ear, use some line, tiny line, move it to the background to make it look like the fur. Then bring it down here. And I'm going to lay down again to make some more details with the grayish tone. In watercolor, when you want to use lighter gray, you can use a little more water and lay down your brush to draw one whole line. In acrylic, you need to add a little white into your paint and make it lighter. But still need to use tip of brush for these details. And for the edges of the face, try to start adding the line, tiny line from inside to the background. This is really helpful to make the fur around the edges of cat, not just one straight line. For both sides, we need to do like that. Then the same happened for body. So I'm going to add a little bit brown and blue to make this dark color. If you see, I can move my brush easily into this paint. It's not watery a lot, but it's not dry as well. So take the brush a little bit. Even when I'm going to do the back of the body, I try to add a tiny line and then move on with this small line to make some fur. It's not happened the same all the way. I can use broken line like that, even let it empty here, another line, and then a tiny line to make the fur. Just work and play with your paint to make it more interesting. And then this side of the hand, I make it a little dark with one brush stroke. Even it's not straight, it's a little broken line. And then I try to make some curvy here. Like that. On the top, let's move facing toward up. Even if it's light, I can bring just a pure dark blue to make a little darker tone here. And even the darker blue, I try to add a little watery, not draw brush. When I want to add whole part with one tone, I lay down the brush, one movement, bring it like that. When I want to go with the details, I'm going to use just the tip of my brush. So then move on with the tail. The tail is really dark, so we can go with this brush stroke to make it dark by just a brown. And then with this dark color of brown and blue, I make some lining here like this. And a little bit here. Small line beside each other to shape, look like the tail. And then on the bottom part, it's really dark, like that. The other side, I see a tiny bit darkness in it for this part, the top part of the chest. Randomly zigzaggy line here, and one line to make the darkness on this part of the hand. And try to add a little darkness on the edges, but if you see, I'm not going to add just one line. I try to work with the line to make it broken, to make it narrow or a little thicker. Bring it out a little bit or bring it inside. And then separate this dark browny color to the white part of the hand. And same as the other hand or foot, this is darkness on the bottom part. And the tiny separation for finger here. Then we can move on. Yeah, we can let it draw. So that's enough. It's light and I cover inside the eye with this green color. Hold the part. I'm not paying attention to the around it, which is dark. I just cover it with green. Even inside is black and white it has. Not seeing that part. Just make it green. Or any color you're interested. Then clean the brush. I'm not using a lots of water, so it should be draw so fast. And then I'm going to work on nose with the reddish brown. Again, less water, more pigment. Even if your brush is so watery, you can control by napkin. Touch the napkin like that and help your brush get darker and use less water. So this heart shape or triangle shape covered by brown. A little bit red color I'm going to add into the brown. Red, I mean the warm red, which is cad red. A little bit would be okay. To move on, the brown be reddish. And then cover the nose. Then clean the napkin with the brush. Whole shape of mouth is dark and it's a blacky, but I see some brownie color cover around it. So I added light brownie here around and let it draw. Now eyes is get dry. I'm going to add this dark color for hole around it and the pupil. But make sure the inside eyes should be completely dry. Then with the tip and narrow line, try to make dark around it first. Shape the eyes like, it's not oval shape, it's look like diamond a little bit. And pointy on the side. And one oval shape is inside, like that. To make the whiskers. Mine is so light, it's not really visible, but I'm going to do it. Even for the whiskers on the right and left. Heavy paint sometimes. Yeah, that's better. I add some whiskers and I add some on darkness because it's more visible. Try to add some tiny line to make this look like fur. Even we can come a little bit on the background. Just some, not much. Toward right and toward left. Make it interesting. Even inside the eye, narrow line we need to bring here as well.